everyone, and welcome to the Springfield Township Board of Trustees regular meeting. Today is Tuesday, August 8th, 2023, and the time is approximately 5:30 p.m. Mr. Burney, may we please have a roll call?
Yes, Mr. Burney?
Present.
Mr. Hollow?
Present.
Ms. Davis?
Present.
All the trustees are present.
Thank you. I'd like to ask everyone to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Next, we have two sets of minutes that are before the board for approval. First is a regular session, July 11, 2023, and our regular work session, July 25th, 2023. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Burney, may we please have your financial report?
Yes, Ms. Davis. For the month ending July 31st, 2023, the township expenditures were $1,967,068.08, and the receipts were $982,755.06. That leaves us with an ending balance of $25,218,869.36. That includes obligations for expenditures, payroll, regular operating costs, ongoing capital improvement projects, and investments. What I request of the board is a motion to approve the receipts, warrants, payroll expenditures, update and current revenue, and reports for the period ending July 31st, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And I want everyone to know that our financial reports are available at the Township building during regular business hours or on the internet, our website, 24/7. Thank you, Ms. Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Burney. Next on our agenda is our departmental action and discussion items, and I'll turn this portion over to our Township Administrator, Mr. Christopher Gilbert.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. As the board is aware, obviously this is a light agenda tonight. We don't have many action items, and mainly that's due to just the time of the year. You know, once we adopt the permanent appropriations in March, we go through a flurry of activity, and then it sort of takes a lull in the summer, and then obviously we'll pick back up here in the fall looking for board action on several items. Doesn't mean that things aren't happening in the township. We're super busy. There's a lot going on, a lot of projects, just nothing that really demands board action, which is why you see a light agenda. But we'll talk about a lot of those items as we get into the departmental activity reports. The only action item I do have tonight is Tom Schneider, who is the Community Center Grove Director, is asking for various changes to the pricing list. The first of which is just simply a name change to an already existing package regarding when people rent the Grove. He's wanting to change the name from a reception package to a main event package, mainly, as he explains here in the explanation, is because it's confusing when people think receptions means something different than what the actual package is for. So he's looking to change that name. And then two new actual packages he's looking to put in place to rent the Grove, which are more for the business community, sort of day packages to rent it during the week and during the day. So it would be the Grove Business Class and then the Grove Repass, which is the second one, the second new one, which would be for events sort of post-funeral that we get a lot of requests for. So no modifications to the pricing on the beverage, but those are the changes that he's recommending. So unless there's any questions regarding those, I would ask for a motion to amend the rental price program for the Grove Banquet Hall.
So moved. Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Moving on to the personnel update, fairly light as well. We did have the resignation of Cody Hagg, a full-time firefighter, paramedic, and I think he just moved on to a different department. Is that correct? Yes. And then in the police department, we had the new hire of Bradley Williams as a patrol officer. The date of that hire is July 26th. And Chief, where did he come from?
So he was just at our neighboring community in Mount Healthy. He had been an officer for a couple of years at Mount Healthy and was really attracted to Springfield Township. So we got lucky there.
How many more openings do we have to fill?
So right now we currently have 4. So we've got a recruiting team doing a lot of different recruiting activities and strategies. Obviously with the challenges we've been facing just in first responders and all over for employment. So they're coming up with some good ideas, hitting the academies and trying to find some good recruits.
I know we have similar issues in the fire department, just maintaining our part-time roster. So
Correct.
we're trying to find ways to do that as well, including, our 18, 20 positions that we have, and possibly including EMTs into those, just to maintain an adequate roster of part-timers to fill some of those slots.
Yeah, the current police academy that's held locally has 8 candidates in the academy. So a lot of competition with all the agencies. A lot of agencies in Hamilton County. 40 plus agencies trying to hire out of those academies and lateral transfers and stuff like that. So
I know, 2 decades ago when I started, we would have an application process and we'd have hundreds of people apply.
yeah,
Now we're lucky if we get 10.
we'd fill the Grove with
Yeah.
applicants for the test, and now we're lucky if we get 10. We keep it open, and they do it on the national testing network, so it's a nationwide testing network that we'd use with other agencies.
Yeah, getting more and more difficult. We're in this boat with a lot of other communities, but it is frustrating. That concludes the personnel update. No other activity in any other department to report on this month. So I'll turn it over to Kim for community events programs.
Thank you. This Friday, Arts Connect is running a back to school bash over at Clifford George Park. We have partnered with Brown Hands Literacy LLC, and we will be giving away 100 backpacks, books to every child, and science kits from COSI. We have games and activities, crafts, all scheduled starting at 7:00 p.m. and then showing a movie at dark, and that is a free event. On August the 18th, we have our Portrait of Aretha dinner theater program, and registration for that ends on Friday. The police department is hosting a program at the Grove Event Center on August the 29th, where they're going to be featuring new technologies in policing, and that is open to the community at 6:30 p.m. Then we'll get into September. On September the 15th, Greenlight Morning is going to be offering a free concert out here on the lawn. And then I also wanted to mention that September the 12th, there's going to be a new CERT class for police and fire that is going to be held at the fire department for residents to be involved in.
Thanks, Kim. Appreciate it. And we are making slow, but we are making progress on putting the Arts Center back together after the flood over the Christmas break, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're almost down for a year, but we've been able to still hold some classes in remote locations and for a while over at Brent. And the hopes is that we'll be moving back in November, and our programming will start back actually in full force in January.
We did get some encouraging news last week in one of our construction meetings with the general contractor. She indicated that the fire suppression system may be getting installed a little sooner than we anticipated, which will allow all the other things to happen, which, a lot of the work was predicated on when that would get put in. So we are anxious and hopefully getting in there prior to November, but the date we still have in our head is November 1st. So.
And so, Kim, I did see that the local art show is coming up soon.
Yeah, so the local art show is going to be in October this year, and we're going to be doing that at the Grove Event Center. We think we're going to kind of play off of the building being built in the 1930s, so we're going to do like a jazz, Art Deco kind of theme back there and kind of celebrate some Cincinnati history through photography and video with that event.
Wonderful. It's going to be really nice.
Thank you.
Moving on to departmental activity reports, one thing I did want to ask, she mentioned the community and the technology and policing program. Can you explain a little bit more in detail?
Yeah, so there's a lot of technology that we're getting a hold of here in the last couple of years. So the primary focus is going to be on the body cameras. We were able to awarded a grant through the state to get the body cameras. So we're just finishing up on some policies and training on that, and we just wanted to make sure that the community is aware of that we will have those body cameras, make sure all of departments and the employees in Springfield Township that we will be having those body cameras. So, and then we have some other technology, our license plate readers. We have a technology out there that they call Star Chase, which is a GPS thing that's going to help us with limiting the liability and the dangers of pursuits. So we've got that. So all the new stuff. We got the virtual reality training simulator that we've been using for the last couple of years, which is really good training, use of force, but just scenario-based training that puts us in there. So I think it'll be really informative for the community to kind of see the new stuff that we have to keep us functioning and keeping everybody safe.
I know the new license plate reader cameras just came in handy. Unfortunately, we had a homicide in one of our neighborhoods, and we were able to utilize those, they're called flock cameras, but we're able to utilize the flock camera to show
Yeah,
that
we've only had this the last month, and there's been probably a handful where we were able to assist us in different crimes. So yeah, they've been very useful for us.
Perfect. That's great.
Fantastic.
In Public Works, I know Scott's been working hard trying to get the Water Nature Preserve project done, and we're about there. We're currently filling the pond, and you're thinking by sometime Thursday the pond will be completely done?
Yeah, that's definitely my hope, would be sometime Thursday afternoon. I don't want to bet on that, but I'm thinking somewhere around Thursday afternoon.
The walking trail was completed late last week. If you haven't been over there, I would encourage you to go check that out. Obviously, there's still some cleanup to do and dressing up to do around some of the edges, but I think the first phase of that project is about at its completion, and I couldn't be happier with how it turned out, and I appreciate Scott's work on that.
It really does look nice.
Coming along.
Well, the board has copies of all the other departmental activity reports, unless there are any questions to those. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. I'm sorry, are there any questions about the departmental?
No questions.
Wonderful. Next on our agenda, we have several resolutions before the board. First is resolution number 67-2023, supplemental appropriations in the general fund, police district fund, fire district fund, road district fund, federal law enforcement fund, task force grant fund, and the FEMA fund. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Seconded.
Mr. Burning.
Aye.
Mr. Honolaw.
Aye.
Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 68-2023, approving cash advance from fire district fund to FEMA fund. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Seconded.
Mr. Burning.
Aye.
Mr. Honolaw.
Aye.
Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 69-2023, declaring motor vehicles located on public or private property in Springfield Township, Hamilton County, Ohio, to be junk motor vehicles pursuant to RC.505.173, and ordering the removal of such vehicles pursuant to resolution number 80-2012 and RC.505.871. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Seconded.
Mr. Burning.
Aye.
Mr. Honolaw.
Aye.
Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 70-2023, declaring nuisances pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, section 505.87 at various listed properties within Springfield Township, and authorizing statutory actions necessary to abate the nuisances. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Seconded.
Mr. Burning.
Aye.
Mr. Honolaw.
Aye.
Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Resolution carries.
And lastly, we have resolution number 71-2023, establishing assessment for abatement of nuisance and certifying same to the Hamilton County Auditor. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Seconded.
Mr. Burning.
Aye.
Mr. Honolaw.
Aye.
Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Is there any old business before the board? Mr.
No,
Fowler,
thank you.
Mr. Fowler?
The only thing I was going to say under old business is I attended the Board of Directors meeting of the Hamilton County Land Bank back on July 25th, and the Port Authority announced that the state of Ohio has just voted to have a new $500 million round of funding for cleanup of brownfield sites. And the Port Authority is going to be working with all the local jurisdictions to try to identify properties within Hamilton County that could be, that could qualify for those funds. I know we have, Kathleen, we have a property down there near Paddock Road. So we, I was talking to Mr. Gelbert, we'll have to be working with the port to see if our properties could get submitted into that funding and maybe get some of those areas of the township cleaned up. And maybe we should also, try to identify if there's any other properties in the township that might qualify. So, anyway, that's all I have.
Thank you.
As I mentioned to Mr. Hernalaw, I think the port is currently working with the property owner of that previous quantum chemical site at Section and Summit that you're referring to. And obviously, if that transaction happens where we think it will, where the port will actually retain ownership of that site, they undoubtedly will tap into this money, because you're talking probably $2 to $3, maybe even $4 million to remediate the former quantum chemical site.
Right. That would be good. I mean, way to get it remediated and turned back into productive, land in the township. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Harlaw. Is there any new business before the board?
No.
Now we come to the portion of our agenda, citizen participation. If there's anyone here tonight that would like to address the board, please step to the podium, state your name and your address. Seeing that there are none.
Don't everybody come up at
Don't
once.
everybody come. Seeing there are none, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Means adjourned.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.